The 1980s weren't just about neon lights, big hair, and synthesizers. They were about lines being crossed. Artists challenged religion. They confronted politics. They questioned sexuality, violence, and power. Some songs were banned, some were protested, some sparked national debates. Tonight, we're counting down 8 of the most controversial songs of the 1980s. Records that shocked radio, angered critics, and forced conversations people weren't ready to have. Number 8. XTC, Dear God, 1986. In 1986, British band XTC released a song that didn't just challenge religion, it directly addressed God.
But all the people that you made in your image, see them starving on.
Dear God is written as a letter, but instead of praise, it delivers doubt. Instead of devotion, it asks hard, uncomfortable questions. Why is there suffering? Why is there war? Why would a loving God allow so much pain? The song's structure is deceptively gentle. Acoustic guitars, clean production. A child's voice opening the track, almost innocent. But as the verses unfold, the lyrics become sharper, more direct, more confrontational. Lead singer Andy Partridge doesn't whisper his uncertainty. He lays it bare. When the song was initially released in the US, it wasn't even included on early pressings of the album. But once college radio began playing it, demand grew. The track was added back, and that's when the backlash began. Some radio stations refused to play it. Religious groups organized protests. There were reports of death threats and bomb threats directed at stations airing the song. For many listeners, it felt like blasphemy. For others, it felt like honesty. What made Dear God so controversial wasn't profanity or shock value. It was doubt. In a decade often defined by excess and spectacle, XTC delivered a quiet but devastating philosophical challenge, and people weren't ready for it. One letter, one question, and a song that proved controversy doesn't always shout. Number 7. George Michael, I Want Your Sex, 1987. In 1987, pop music was polished, glamorous, and carefully packaged. Then George Michael opened his new solo era with 4 words that radio programmers were not ready to hear. I want your sex. At the height of the AIDS crisis, when fear, misinformation, and moral panic dominated headlines, releasing a song with that title felt almost reckless. MTV hesitated. Radio stations banned or heavily edited it. Some refused to even say the name on air. But here's what made the controversy fascinating. The song wasn't promoting promiscuity, it was arguing for monogamy. George Michael framed it as a celebration of committed, emotionally connected intimacy. The lyrics emphasized trust, partnership, and respect. Yet the bluntness of the title overshadowed everything else. The song was divided into sections, almost like a manifesto. It paired slick production with breathy vocals and layered harmonies, building tension both musically and culturally. Parents' groups condemned it. Conservative commentators attacked it. Retailers debated whether to stock the album. Still, it became a hit.
Just let me go. I'd like to try.
And that tension between perception and intention is what fueled the fire. In a decade obsessed with image, George Michael forced audiences to confront their discomfort with sexual honesty. Was it provocative? Yes. Was it careless? Not exactly. I Want Your Sex exposed the contradiction of the 80s, a culture saturated in sensual imagery but deeply uneasy about talking openly about it. One bold title, one cultural nerve struck, and a pop star stepping directly into controversy instead of avoiding it. Number 6. Queen, I Want to Break Free, 1984.
I want to break free.
In 1984, Queen released a song about liberation. But it wasn't the lyrics that sparked outrage, it was the video.
I want to be free, lady.
I Want to Break Free is a bright, synth-driven anthem written by bassist John Deacon. On its surface, it's about independence, breaking away from emotional constraint, reclaiming identity, refusing to stay trapped. But when the music video premiered, it created a cultural divide that no one expected. In the video, the members of Queen appear dressed in drag, parodying characters from a popular British soap opera. For UK audiences, it was obvious satire, playful, exaggerated, self-aware humor. For many American viewers, it was something else entirely. MTV in the United States reacted cautiously. The video was heavily limited in rotation. Some stations avoided it altogether. Conservative audiences labeled it inappropriate. Others misunderstood it as a serious political statement rather than parody. And at the center of it all was Freddie Mercury, charismatic, theatrical, unapologetically himself. At a time when discussions around gender expression and sexuality were far less open than today, the visual imagery hit differently across cultures. What Britain saw as cheeky humor, parts of America saw as confrontation. Ironically, the song itself wasn't radical. It's melodic, catchy, and uplifting. But imagery matters. And in the image-driven 1980s, Queen discovered just how powerful and polarizing a visual message could be. One video, one cultural misunderstanding, and a reminder that controversy doesn't always come from what you sing, but from how you're seen. Number 5, Guns N' Roses, 1 in a Million, 1988.
I need some peace of mind, some peace of mind.
By 1988, Guns N' Roses were already the most dangerous band in rock, but 1 in a Million wasn't controversial because of volume. It was controversial because of words.
Maybe a greyhound.
Released on the GNR Lies album, the song stripped away the explosive guitars and presented something more acoustic, almost confessional. Axl Rose sings about arriving in Los Angeles, feeling overwhelmed, paranoid, out of place. Then come the lyrics that ignited a firestorm.
Don't need to buy none of your gold chain.
The song includes racial slurs and derogatory language toward immigrants and gay people, lines that critics immediately condemned as offensive, reckless, and harmful. Advocacy groups protested, radio stations hesitated, interviews became damage control. Axl Rose defended the lyrics as autobiographical, describing his fear and anger as a young man from Indiana dropped into a chaotic city. He argued it was perspective, not policy, expression, not endorsement.
See my ticket till then. Won't you cut?
But for many listeners, that explanation wasn't enough. The controversy divided fans. Some saw it as raw honesty, others saw it as unacceptable bigotry disguised as storytelling.
1 in a million. Ooh, yeah. Well,
What made 1 in a Million particularly explosive was timing. The late 80s were already wrestling with issues of race, sexuality, and identity. The AIDS crisis was still devastating communities. Conversations about representation were becoming louder. Into that climate, this song felt like gasoline on embers. And unlike many controversial songs of the decade, this wasn't playful provocation, it was uncomfortable, confrontational, personal. One acoustic track, one set of lyrics, and one of the most debated moments in 80s rock history. Number 4, Ian Dury and the Blockheads, Spasticus Autisticus, 1981.
I'm Spasticus, I'm Spasticus, I'm Spasticus, Autisticus.
In 1981, controversy didn't come wrapped in glamour or shock rock. It came wrapped in confrontation. Ian Dury was never a conventional pop figure. A survivor of polio who lived with a visible disability, he had long used wit and wordplay to challenge social norms. But with Spasticus Autisticus, he abandoned subtlety altogether. The title alone stunned broadcasters.
Spasticus, I'm Spasticus, Autisticus. I dribble.
The song was written as a protest, a furious response to what Dury saw as patronizing charity campaigns that portrayed disabled people as objects of pity. Specifically, it targeted the tone of the International Year of Disabled Persons, which Dury felt reduced real lives to sentimental slogans. Instead of gratitude, he delivered defiance.
I'm Spasticus, I'm Spasticus, Autisticus. I'm Spasticus.
The lyrics are blunt, repetitive, aggressive. Dury repeatedly declares, "I'm Spasticus, I'm Autisticus," turning language historically used as an insult into a weapon of reclamation. But radio didn't see it that way. The BBC banned the song almost immediately. Many stations refused to play it. Critics were split. Some praised its boldness and political edge. Others called it offensive, even harmful. What made the controversy complicated was authorship. This wasn't an outsider mocking disability. It was a disabled artist reclaiming space, loudly and unapologetically.
You may not comprehend my tale or understand.
The track isn't polished pop. It's confrontational funk, driven by pounding rhythm and Dury's half-spoken delivery. It feels less like a single and more like a manifesto shouted through a megaphone. One protest song, one band record, and one artist refusing to be spoken for. Number 3, Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Relax, 1984.
Relax, don't you ask when you wanna go to.
In 1984, a debut single from an unknown band did something almost impossible. It was banned, and then it became unstoppable.
Relax, don't you ask when you want a second.
Relax. By Frankie Goes to Hollywood exploded onto the UK charts with a pounding beat, provocative lyrics, and a title that quickly became ironic. The controversy began with the words. Though the lyrics were layered and abstract, they were widely interpreted as overtly sexual, explicit, bold, and unapologetic. When the BBC caught on, they pulled the song from radio rotation. Major broadcasters refused to play it. Some retailers even hesitated to stock it. And that's when everything changed. Instead of killing the record, the band fueled curiosity. Sales surged. The single climbed to number 1 in the UK and stayed there for weeks. It became one of the biggest hits of the decade. Then came the music video. Leather, chains, underground club imagery. A theatrical, exaggerated portrayal of hedonism that pushed boundaries even further. MTV and other networks handled it cautiously, editing or limiting exposure. But the 80s thrived on spectacle. What made Relax so controversial wasn't just sexuality. Pop music had flirted with that before. It was the combination of aggression, marketing, and imagery. The band leaned into the scandal. Promotional shirts boldly printed the word "Relax" in massive block letters, turning censorship into branding. It was controversy as strategy. One band single, one cultural flashpoint, and proof that sometimes telling people not to listen is the fastest way to make them do exactly that. Number 2, Prince. Darling Nikki, 1984.
She took me to her castle and I just couldn't.
In 1984, Prince was already pushing boundaries. But Darling Nikki didn't just push them. It detonated them. Hidden deep inside the Purple Rain album, the song wasn't even released as a single. Yet it became one of the most controversial tracks of the entire decade. Why? Because of one line.
I met her in a hotel lobby, masturbating.
I met her in a hotel lobby, masturbating with a magazine. At a time when pop music was already flirting with sensuality, Prince didn't flirt. He stated, directly, without apology. The track itself is dark, gritty, almost chaotic. The guitars snarl, the rhythm feels urgent. Prince's vocal delivery is theatrical and raw, shifting between seduction and confrontation. It doesn't sound playful. It sounds deliberate. But the real explosion came when Tipper Gore, wife of then-Senator Al Gore, reportedly heard her daughter playing the song. Outrage followed.
She said, sign your name on a dotted line.
Darling Nikki became a central catalyst for the formation of the Parents Music Resource Center, PMRC, a group that pushed for warning labels on albums containing explicit content. Congressional hearings were held. Musicians testified. The debate over censorship versus artistic freedom became national news. And from that controversy came the now famous Parental Advisory label.
Looked all over, all I found was a phone number.
One song helped change the packaging of music forever. Prince, of course, didn't back down. He rarely explained himself. He rarely apologized. The song remained on the album exactly as it was. What made Darling Nikki so powerful wasn't just sexual explicitness, it was autonomy. Prince wasn't asking for permission to explore adult themes. He assumed it. One track buried on an album. one political backlash, and one permanent shift in how music would be labeled from that point forward. Number 1, N.W.A. F. The Police, 1988.
Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. A young nigga got it back.
In 1988, hip-hop wasn't just entertainment. It was becoming a battleground. When N.W.A. released Straight Outta Compton, one track stood out immediately, not because of radio play, not because of crossover appeal, but because of raw confrontation. F. The Police. The song didn't hint, it didn't metaphor, it accused.
And not the other color, so police think they have the authority to kill them.
Structured like a mock courtroom trial, the track puts the police on trial for brutality, racial profiling, and systemic abuse. Ice Cube, MC Ren, and Eazy-E deliver verses that feel less like lyrics and more like testimony. At the time, the crack epidemic was devastating communities. Reports of police violence in Los Angeles were rising, but those conversations weren't dominating national headlines yet. This song forced them there. The backlash was immediate.
They have the authority to kill a minority. Fuck that shit, 'cause I ain't
The FBI sent a warning letter to N.W.A.'s record label condemning the song. Law enforcement organizations publicly criticized the group. Concert venues were pressured to cancel shows. During live performances, police reportedly monitored crowds closely, and in some cases, the group was detained after shows. To critics, the song was dangerous. To supporters, it was documentation. This wasn't shock for attention. It was anger rooted in lived experience. It didn't ask for understanding. It demanded it. And decades later, the song still resurfaces in moments of national tension, proving that controversy sometimes isn't about provocation. Sometimes it's about truth spoken too loudly for comfort.
thrown in jail. We can go toe to toe in the middle of a sale.
One explosive anthem, one federal response, and a record that changed the relationship between hip-hop authority and American culture forever. These 8 songs didn't just stir debate, they exposed the fault lines of an entire decade.